Hello everyone. It's been a long time since I have done a video. You know that I was busy with the work at school and all. But now we again have a holiday. I was hoping to do a video quickly, but it is today I have got a chance to do so. And in today's video, I'm going to speak about a question analysis on the poem The Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson. You might think that it is a simple poem with only 6 lines, but it is not a simple poem. There are many underlying ideas in that poem, and today I'm going to talk about those meanings. And there's another reason I have decided to do a question on this particular poem. That is the only poem under the theme of nature that questions were not asked in past GCE O-level exam. So it's kind of justifiable to assume you would get a question from this poem. So you know what to do. Please subscribe to my channel, and there are some more essay type questions on other texts. You can go through them later. And if you like this video, please press the like button below. And so without further ado, we'll hop into the question. The question we are going to discuss today is, the poem The Eagle is not a mere presentation of an eagle. Do you agree? You have to be careful. Here the question is, do you agree? So you can agree or you can disagree. But uh, but when you go through the poem, you might have understood that this is not only about an eagle, but some other ideas or deeper meanings are brought out in the poem. In this slide, I have pointed out what kind of ideas are brought out in the poem. First and foremost, as the title suggests, this is about an eagle, of course. We can see a description of a specific eagle. But is it the only idea given in the poem? Of course not. The poem is a presentation of nature itself. The power and beauty of nature is brought out by the symbol of an eagle. And then there's another deeper meaning or idea. We can connect this particular poem to the human society as well. Because if you very carefully read the poem, you will be able to see that the eagle is a symbol for authoritative and powerful people in the society. In the next 3 slides, I'm going to mention in brief what you'll have to write if you get a question like this for your exam. In this slide, I'm going to talk about the idea of an eagle, which is portrayed in the poem. As you all know, eagle is a rare kind of a bird. It cannot be sighted or seen easily. There are many birds, but eagle is considered as the king of bird species. And also, unlike other group birds, eagle is a solitary bird. And it is a carnivorous bird who catches prey for survival. And also it is very powerful and dangerous. It is very swift and agile and flies high. It can be considered as one of the most powerful birds we have. So all these traits of an eagle is brought out in the poem. So you have to agree that this poem tells us about an eagle. Then, on the other hand, it is a presentation of nature itself, because you know that eagle is a part of nature. So, eagle is not an individual figure, it is a part of the big picture, which is nature. Other than the eagle, the poet has brought out many other powerful and picturesque images of other natural elements like sun, sky, sea, mountains, and thunderbolt. So you can see that this is not just a portrayal of an eagle, but there are many other factors which are brought out in the poem. So we can agree that this poem is not merely about an eagle, but also presentation of nature too. And then, as I have mentioned earlier, this poem is also about authoritative and powerful people in society. When I say authoritative, think of high-level politicians, company CEOs, and powerful businessmen. All these people have the traits you could see in the eagle. As I have told, eagle is the king of birds. And these sorts of people are the kings of society. They are powerful and strong, and if we really looked into their lives, we can see that they are solitary because they don't have real friends. And also, they are cruel and dangerous. No one can escape if they are angered. And not only that, ordinary people cannot reach them easily because there are so many barriers around them. All these ideas are illustrated in the poem if we really analyze the poem. And when you write your answer, you have to point out as many facts as you can to prove your point. And as I always tell you, remember about time management. This is only a summary. If you need in-detail analysis, please keep on watching. From this slide onwards, I'm going to tell you a line-by-line analysis related to your question. So if we revise the question, it was, the poem The Eagle is not a mere presentation of an eagle. Let's move on to the detailed analysis. Okay, this is the first line of the poem. He clasps the crag with crooked hands. He here means the eagle. And all of you know that eagle is a bird. So we don't usually use he to describe a bird. We use the pronoun it. But here the poet has used a masculine personification, he. Then we have the place where he is. He is holding on to a rock cliff with his claws. But there also, without using the word claws, the poet has used another personification, hands. Then the other technique you have is alliteration. What do you mean by alliteration? That is recurrence of the same consonant sound in close proximity. Here in this line, we have the alliteration of hard k sound. Now let's see how all these techniques are related to the question in your hands. In this line, we are presented with an image of an eagle who is perched on top of a rock. And the personification in the word he represents power and strength of the eagle. This eagle is holding on to a very high place, and similarly, authoritative men also hold on to their positions in a very powerful way. So this is not just an ordinary eagle, but it is a symbol of powerful men also. We have discussed about alliteration of hard k. This technique brings out hardness and cruelty and danger of the bird. And when you learned the poem, you have got to know that crooked means bent or twisted. This twisted hands also represents potential danger of the eagle as well as powerful men in society. If a prey is caught in these twisted hands or claws, there is no escape. The second line in the poem is close to the sun in lonely lands. In this line, close to the sun can be referred as a hyperbole or exaggeration. Why? Because no one has the ability to go close to the sun, and it produces the idea of inaccessibility of the bird. Then you have another alliteration, lonely lands. The alliteration of l sound distributes solitary nature of the bird. In this slide, I will explain how the poet brings out the idea of the bird and nature. The poet says that the eagle is close to the sun. It brings out the high elevation of the bird. It is on a very high mountain that if anyone sees the eagle, that person may imagine that there is a very short distance between the sun and the eagle. And as I mentioned in the former slide, no one has the ability to go near the sun because it will burn itself. But eagle can do this impossible task which presents its power. And since the eagle is in a very high place, ordinary creatures cannot reach him. He is unreachable. This also proves his power and strength. Here you are presented with two elements, and they are not just elements but powerful elements in nature. Those are sun and eagle. So by this we can say that the poet tries to emphasize about the power of nature by this poem, not only about the eagle. Here we are going to talk about how the eagle can be made similar to an authoritative man in society. And by that you can prove that this poem is not just about an eagle. Eagle, as we discussed earlier, is powerful, and sun is also a powerful object in nature. Here you can see two powerful elements are in close association with each other. Similarly, in society also, powerful and strong people associate with people who have similar backgrounds. The other fact is, just like the eagle was unreachable by other creatures, ordinary people can't reach powerful people. Imagine it like this. If you ask the president to have lunch with you, or let's say ask Bill Gates for a dinner, no, right? Similarly, ordinary creatures cannot reach powerful eagle. And finally, the eagle is in a very high elevation, so high up in the sky. Similarly, authoritative men are also in higher social ladders, or they are high up in the hierarchy of the society. This makes them powerful as well as inaccessible. So all these ideas are brought out in one single line. Then we can move up to the phrase lonely lands. Earlier also I have mentioned that it represents loneliness or solitary life of the eagle. How can we relate it to the authoritative people? You know that most powerful and famous people live lonely lives. Though they are surrounded by many people, there are very few actual friends. So just like the eagle is solitary, powerful and famous people are also lonely or they have solitary lives. The final line of the first stanza is, ringed with the azure world he stands. Here ringed means surrounded and the azure world means bright blue sky. The poet creates a very picturesque image of a bird who is high up in a rock cliff and it is surrounded with a bright blue sky. The sky is his kingdom. The eagle expands its control over this huge sky, which portrays his power and authority. The visual image created by this line helps to bring out the beauty of nature. So this poem is also about the beauty and power of nature too. Okay, now we can move on to the second stanza. The wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. In this phrase, as you all know, wrinkled sea can be taken as a metaphor. There are various ideas brought out through this metaphor. First, it suggests the high elevation of the bird. He is so high up that huge waves are seen as wrinkles. You know that when we are at the beach or on a boat, we can see huge waves. But when we go on a plane or a helicopter, that same wave seems to be not that huge because you see it from so high up. Through this line, we can see the position of the eagle. Not only that, the power of the bird is also brought out. Sea is a powerful element in nature, but here you can see that it crawls in front of the power of the eagle. So who do you think is more powerful? Is it the sea or the eagle? Correct, it is the eagle. Just like the sea crawls beneath the power of the eagle, ordinary or less powerful people have to surrender in front of the power of authoritative people. They have the upper hand in everything. So here too we can see that eagle is a symbol of such authoritative men. The second line in the second stanza is, he watches from his mountain walls. Again you can see masculine personification. I'm not going to talk about that because I have discussed the importance of that technique in the first line. So we'll move on to the word watches. From that word we can see the agility of the bird. It is watching what is happening around him with some alacrity. And the most important phrase here is mountain walls. It is of course a metaphor. It tells us about the high position or elevation of the bird. The poet says that the mountains are walls. So I'll ask you to think, what do walls do? They separate things, right? In your school, you have walls between each class to separate those classes. So the word walls gives us an idea about the solitary nature of the bird. It is separated from the rest of the world. It tells us about the unreachability and inaccessibility of the bird. The eagle is so high up and separated from the rest of the world. From the phrase mountain walls, we can see that the eagle is portrayed as a warrior or a king who watches out from the palace walls. It also makes similarities between eagle and powerful people. The image of the eagle surrounded by tall mountain walls bring out the royalty and power of the eagle. And now we have come to the last line of this poem. And like a thunderbolt, he falls. When you have a comparison with the words like or as, you know that it is a simile. And here we have another element of nature, which is thunderbolt. How do you feel if you are hit by a thunderbolt? You can't even imagine it, right? Why is that? Because it is dangerous and destructive. So why has the poet used this particular simile to talk about the eagle? It is because an eagle is also very destructive and dangerous. In this line, we can see a moving eagle. He may have flown down, probably to catch a prey. Do you think he would be successful? Most of us believe so, because until now we have only discussed about the power and danger of the bird. So our assumption should be correct. And thunderbolt is very swift. We cannot predict when it will come down and we can't escape. Just the same, the prey that the eagle is after cannot see the eagle coming down at it because of the eagle's speed. And we have no hope that the prey has any escape whatsoever. And another important point to discuss is, why has the poet used falls instead of flies down? Because it brings out the swiftness of the bird's action. So in this line we see eagle as dangerous and powerful element in nature. How can we relate this to powerful people? Powerful men are also destructive and dangerous. Just like there was no escape for the prey from the eagle, there would be no escape for ordinary innocent people if authoritative men come after them. Now you have come to the last part of this presentation and your answer, which is conclusion. Here in the earlier slides you have seen that this poem is about an eagle, its power, strength, agility, cruelty and danger. But that's not all. It also is a representation of the beauty and power of nature too. And the eagle can also symbolize authoritative people in society. So the poem is not a mere description of an eagle, but much more than that. And of course, you have to be very clever when you choose what to write, because for people who don't have much speed with their writing, you'll have to choose the most important facts first. And remember to use some quotations from the poem when you answer. So if you like this video, please give a thumbs up, and if you have further questions, please feel free to mention them in the comment section below. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. And if you have any suggestions for my future videos, please comment. Okay, that's it. Have a nice day, students. Let's meet with my next video.